We're going to move on with our international press review with Florence Vilmino. Hello there.
Kat.
Now, we're going to be starting across the pond in the United States. The newspapers there and the media in general giving lots of reaction to this new immigration policies coming out of the White House.
A new policy that's drawing mixed reactions. You can read about it on the website, of Fox News. They have a good summary of these mixed reactions. You have some people who are very much in favor of this stricter enforcement. They're praising Trump for keeping his campaign promise. In fact, they actually want him to go even further. But then you also have civil rights groups who are alarmed, saying it's going to devastate families and communities and hurt economies across the United States.
Well, I suppose you could say if these regulations exist, then enforcing them to the letter of the law, what's wrong with that? But some people have been talking about mass deportations. The Trump administration has been responding to that.
That's right. The Trump administration says these measures are not intended to produce mass deportations, but you can see a lot of liberal papers aren't buying this. This is the editorial of the Washington Post talking about a blueprint for mass removals with a streak of cruelty, according to this editorial. This new policy sends a message of fear, though many in American, message of fear through immigrant communities, including people who are living legally in the United States. You just got a sneak peek at the editorial of the New York Times today that goes a little bit further. It says that this new implementation of these laws that already exist actually completely turns sensible immigration policies upside down and backwards. It's going to make the deportation machinery more extreme and frightening and expensive, you can see, to the detriment of deeply held American values.
All right, we'll move across to the Israeli press now. There's lots of reaction to the sentencing of an Israeli soldier yesterday for manslaughter. This is Elor Azaria, who shot dead a Palestinian assailant who was already on the ground wounded. He's been given 18 months in prison for that.
It's been a polarizing case in Israel that is actually, and the sentence is drawing mixed reaction that you can actually see here on the front page of the Jerusalem Post. You can see on the one hand these calls for pardon after Azaria received this 18-month sentence. An appeal is actually expected. But you can see on the left part of the front page there the family of the assailant. They're saying that actually they were hoping for a harsher sentence, perhaps 10 years. Now, in an article that is also on the front page of the Jerusalem Post, we'll take a closer look at that. It's a comment piece. It's saying that, look, this was the trial that tore apart the country. The trial is over. Justice is done. And it's focusing on the fact that in Israel, a lot of people see the sentence as too long and too severe, whereas outside, there's a completely different reaction to this sentence. Much of the world and the International Criminal Court especially say that it's too short and actually didn't go far enough.
Well, the maximum tariff for manslaughter in Israel is 20 years, so 18 months, clearly very short of that. That critical opinion is repeated in some of the Arab language papers that you've got for us.
I pulled out an article from Al Arabi Al Jadid, that's a pan-Arab paper based in London, that says that essentially the sentence is the equivalent of a prize, an award for the soldier. And essentially the Israeli justice system has just confirmed that murdering Palestinians is a systematic and unjustified policy of the Jewish state. The article goes on to say that essentially the sentence means that it's giving a green light to this policy of liquidating Palestinians in cold blood. So you can see quite a harshly worded opinion there.
Very interesting contrast of articles you've pulled out on that story. Let's move on to something completely different. The world's oldest still serving head of state is Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. He's just turned 93 yesterday.
A day of surprises for the birthday boy. You can read about that in The Chronicle. That is a government-owned daily, very detailed article of his birthday celebrations yesterday. He included a colorful party hosted by his staff, but the big party is going to be this Saturday. You can read more about that in Jeune Afrique, talking about how he's blowing out his 93 candles. So this big party planned Saturday. Thousands of people have been invited. Last year, guests feasted on elephant and antelope. They ate a 92-kilo cake. The whole thing cost $800,000. Now,
Goodness
each
me.
year, his birthday celebrations draw some criticism in Zimbabwe. particularly because in the country, only about 90% of people have real jobs. So you can also read an article in Courrier International that talks about how even at the age of 93, he's hell-bent on holding on to power. He wants to run again in 2018, even though there are a lot of rumors that he's in ill health, rumors that have been swept aside by his wife, who recently said people would even vote for his corpse. You can see this cartoon here in Courrier International by the Russian cartoonist Tiwin, talking about perhaps the secret to his longevity, eating a corpse there. Now, he's 93. Another woman is 94 and alive and kicking. You can read her portrait in China Daily. This is an incredible woman, Zhang Hexiang. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Otherwise known as the Kung Fu Granny. She has recently become an internet sensation. What is her secret to longevity? Well, it's not eating elephant and antelope. She wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. and practices Kung Fu before eating porridge and noodles. So I guess that's the secret to longevity. She says that even at 94, she wants to keep teaching and pass on her knowledge and wisdom. You can see her there teaching a little girl.
She's excellent. And she's got slight wedge heels going on there. That's pretty badass, isn't it? I like that. Thanks very much, Flo Villomino, bringing us that roundup of the international newspaper headlines.